Should you put your money in a high yield saving account or invest in the stock market? Most people think it one way or the other, but in reality, these two can work at the same time. So in this video, I'm going to go over the pros and cons of each of them and also the best practices on how to use them. So let's get started. Let's start with the stock market. Did you know that if S&P 500 drops more than 25%, the recovery usually is not fast? It's typically more than 1 to 2 years. Hopefully you know what to buy in the stock market. If you don't, watch my previous video about the only stock that I'm buying this year from the stock market. Historically, the stock market returns 7 to 10% growth per year. But sometimes the S&P 500 can drop 20% or even 50%, like what we saw in the 2008 crash. But you might say that it's not a problem because the stock market always goes back up, which is true, but the timeline matters. If the S&P 500 drops more than 25%, the recovery is usually not fast. Typically, more than 1 to 2 years of recovery. Let's take a look at the previous stock market drops and see how long it took for it to recover. The last one was in January 2025, which took around 3 to 4 months. Before that, we have COVID, which recovered under a year. And then obviously the big crash in 2008, which took around 4 years to recover. So if you put your money in the stock market, if it drops, it usually takes more than a year to recover. And that is if you put your money in an ETF that follows the S&P 500. So only invest money you won't need for at least 2 years. Now let's talk about high yield saving accounts. Did you know that your bank can legally stop you from taking money out of your high yield saving account? It happens, and I'll explain more on this. But let's go through some basics first. A high yield saving account is an account where you put your money there and they give you interest on your money. Most of them are also backed by the government up to $250,000 of your deposit, which is called FDIC insurance, which means that you will never lose your money. So it is basically a zero risk type of account, and you always have instant access to your money. So what type of money should you put in a high yield saving account? Basically anything that you may need in the next 1 to 3 years. Think of your emergency fund, which is 3 to 6 times your monthly expenses. Other things can be your bills, your rent, the saving for your travel, the down payment for your house purchase. Before you pick a bank for your high yield saving account, here are some tips to pay attention. Number 1 is the physical branch access. This is extremely important. My high yield saving account is through PNC. If I want my money, I can drive to a local PNC and take money out in less than an hour. But I've seen people through some banks, I think Capital One, yes, they offer a high yield saving account, but if you need your money, there is no branch around you. So you have to electronically transfer your money, which can take 1 to 3 business days. Number 2 is the withdrawal limits. This is also extremely important. Your high yield saving account is not like a regular checking account where you can deposit and take money out regularly. There is a limit of transactions. For the PNC bank that I have, if I'm not mistaken, the transaction limit is 6, which means that if I take money 6 times out in a month, for number 7, PNC can stop me. They can stop me from taking money out. So I have to wait for the new month to come so that this limit gets reset. Number 4, no hidden fees. So some of these high yield saving accounts come with a fee, so make sure to check that. This is very easy to check. Number 4, FDIC insurance. We talked about this before. Basically, all of your deposits are backed by the government up to $250,000, which means zero risk. Number 5, transfer speed. That depends on your high yield saving account bank. Like I said, if you have a local bank around you, it's just an hour, you drive there, you take the money out. But if it's through some banks that don't have a local branch, it will take 1 to 3 days, 1 to 3 business days for you to get access to your money. Competitive API, this is also very obvious. Obviously, you go and you open an account where it gives you higher interest rate. And finally, number 7, good mobile app plus customer service. So check the Google reviews before you open a high yield saving account. I've been happy with PNC. They are awesome, and the only thing is that they don't offer the high yield saving account in Texas anymore. So there was a time around 23, 24 where when I opened my high yield saving account, but if you go to the website, you cannot open a high yield saving account anymore. That option is no longer there. Now, one more tip for you. If you don't have access to PNC around you, or a bank that gives you, a local bank that gives you a high yield saving account, and you have to choose one of these banks where you have to electronically transfer, if you open a Vanguard brokerage for your stock market investment, that automatically comes in with a high yield saving account, or whatever they want to call it. Basically, the money that is sitting in your Vanguard account gets interest. So let's say you have invested in VOO, and you have like $10,000 sitting there waiting for you to be invested. That money gets interest on it, and it's an advantage to me because you have your high yield saving account and your brokerage account in one place. So which one is better? I'm going to give you a simple and detailed answer. The simple answer is, if this is the only money that you have saved, keep it safe. If you already have a cushion, then investing is the smart option. And here is a detailed answer. Invest your money in the stock market if you already have an emergency fund and you have no high interest debt and you won't need the money for years and you want long-term growth. You should choose a high yield saving account if you don't have a 3 to 6 months of expenses saved, or you have a high interest debt, or you have unstable income, or you might need the money soon, like the down payment for a house purchase. At the end of the day, a high yield saving account and the stock market serve two different purposes. A high yield saving account is for safety and liquidity. The stock market is for growth but volatility. I have prepared a table that compares these two in details from different aspects, so feel free to pause the video and read through each of the lines. I hope you learned something new from watching this video. If you did, let me know in the comments, and if you don't agree with any part of this video, also let me know in the comments. And you should subscribe to my channel because here I post videos about smart money investing. So with this, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.